lovely dreamers, and welcome back to yet another video. It is so good to see you again, and in this video we have a really exciting topic which we've talked about on the channel before for sure, but it has been a while since we have done that, and that is sleep paralysis. So we're going to be breaking down a few different things within sleep paralysis in this video: what sleep paralysis is, what it feels like to be in sleep paralysis, how sleep paralysis can be useful for lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences, and an effective way to induce sleep paralysis. So this is what we're going to be covering in this video, so let's dive into it. Sleep paralysis is a natural part of our biology, and this happens roughly every 90 minutes of sleep. Sleep paralysis occurs in REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep, and that is the stage of sleep that we dream in. The reason why we experience sleep paralysis when we're in REM is because if we didn't experience sleep paralysis when we were dreaming, then our physical body would most likely act out parts of our dreams and we could hurt ourselves or other people. So this is a natural part of our biology that has been used to protect us and has helped us evolve as well. And it could be argued that people who experience frequent sleepwalking do have a deficiency in the chemicals in the body that produce sleep paralysis or muscular paralysis within this stage of sleep. So it's very important to protect the body while our mind is experiencing a different reality. And what it feels like to be in sleep paralysis does differ from person to person, but there are some common symptoms when it comes to sleep paralysis. And the first one I'd say is muscular paralysis. Your muscles are paralyzed within REM, or rapid eye movement stage of sleep, because it is preventing us from acting out our dreams. So if you ever wake up in sleep paralysis and you can't really move, that is because your brain is half asleep while you're conscious of your body sleeping. So basically your body is asleep and your mind is awake if you ever experience waking sleep paralysis. So you know that you're awake in bed, but your physical body can't move. So that's one of the main symptoms of sleep paralysis. Another one is visual hallucinations. So a lot of people report seeing things in their room or hearing things in their room, and that's because part of our brain is conscious and part of our brain is actually dreaming, and the body assumes that we're actually asleep and dreaming in sleep paralysis, which is why it paralyzes the body. Our body doesn't know that part of our brain is awake, experiencing sleep paralysis consciously. So when you hear things in your physical environment, when you're in sleep paralysis, when you see things, when you feel things, anything like that, that's because part of your brain is dreaming. And sleep paralysis is a thought responsive state, just like a lucid dream or an out-of-body experience. So whatever you think, feel, expect, and intend to happen is going to happen and manifest because you're basically dreaming while you're awake. So try changing your thoughts and your emotions and your intentions when you're in sleep paralysis and see what happens. Because I mostly hear things. I don't really see things in my physical environment, but I hear things. I hear doors opening. I hear like people walking around my room. Like I hear all these, and I think it's really, really cool because once you study the science of sleep paralysis, you kind of know what is happening. But see if you can expect something else to happen or change your emotion and see how your experience actually changes. It works just like a dream because again, you're basically half dreaming during sleep paralysis. So the main things that people will experience is like auditory hallucinations, physical hallucinations, muscular paralysis, and then of course like dream images, or you could be slipping in and out of dreams during this state. Sleep paralysis is very beneficial for lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences because sleep paralysis is an indicator that we're in the correct stage of sleep to perform a technique for a lucid dream or an out-of-body experience. And even though you don't have to be in sleep paralysis or REM to have an out-of-body experience, sometimes it is easier when you're first starting out to induce an out-of-body experience from REM sleep because you know that your body is partially asleep and part of your mind is awake, and so you're kind of in the perfect state to disassociate from your physical body. You're not too awake, you haven't been up and awake all day, but you're not too tired either where you're just going to completely fall asleep. So REM is a good way to start inducing out-of-body experiences consciously, especially if you've never had one before. When it comes to inducing lucid dreams, we lucid dream in REM sleep. It's not like an out-of-body experience where it can really happen in like any stage of sleep or any state of consciousness, but lucid dreams happen primarily in REM sleep. So if you're ever in sleep paralysis, if you ever wake up in sleep paralysis, or you're going to bed meditating and your body enters sleep paralysis, you know that you're actually in REM sleep. So it's a really good way to start focusing your mind on a technique, and it will be a lot easier to induce a lucid dream directly from sleep paralysis. But keep in mind that not everybody experiences all of the symptoms of sleep paralysis. It does differ from person to person, so you'll have to play around with this a little bit more. But for me, I get the hypnagogic imagery, which is another sign that you are entering REM. Or sometimes hypnagogic imagery just happens as you're falling into sleep. So it's a sign that your subconscious mind is opening and your conscious mind is kind of closing. So that is a good indicator that you are entering these stages of sleep where you are able to induce dreams and lucid dreams. So I'll get hypnagogic imagery, I will get muscular paralysis, but I don't really ever notice it because I don't try to like move, but I will feel the tingling and the vibrations all over, and I'll hear noises. Again, mine is mostly auditory hallucinations that I hear. So you'll just have to play around with it, but I definitely recommend getting familiar with sleep paralysis because it is an amazing state to basically just induce these experiences quicker, because you don't have to like try to guess if you're in the right state of sleep. If you wake up directly from a dream, you're in REM, and if you're in sleep paralysis, you're in REM. So those are good indicators for using it to induce lucid dreams and out-of-body experiences. So an effective way to induce sleep paralysis, this is what I do, is it's either tracking your REM sleep, so actually waking up and setting an alarm after 4.5 to 5 hours of sleep. This is when one of your longest REM periods are. So if you wake up directly out of a dream, you know that you are in REM and you can do this technique immediately. Another way is to take a nap. Take a nap during the day and sleep for maybe like an hour to like 90 minutes and then wake yourself up. Because again, REM, or rapid eye movement, occurs after 90 minutes of sleep. So if you take like a 90-minute nap and then wake yourself up, you'll most likely be either in REM or really close to REM, so you can just wake up and then start to meditate yourself back into a deep state. So whether you wake up after 4.5 to 5 hours of sleep, or you try this technique during the day after 90 minutes of sleep, it should work relatively the same. You want to lay on your back and you want to be completely still. I like to spread out my arms and my legs. You don't want to be crossing any limbs, because the point of putting ourselves into sleep paralysis is to disassociate from our physical body. If we're focusing like on how we're laying, or we feel uncomfortable in any way, it's very hard to put ourselves to sleep consciously. And in sleep paralysis, we're basically consciously falling asleep. So we're putting our body to sleep, but we're keeping our mind awake. So we have to be as comfortable as possible when we are trying to induce the vibrational state or sleep paralysis. So the easiest way for me is to lay on my back. Don't have a super big fluffy pillow or anything, just something very chill that you will basically be able to tune out. If something's too heavy like a blanket, or too light and you get cold, like that's going to cause some issues potentially later during the technique. So try to make yourself as comfortable as possible, spread out your limbs, and just completely relax. For me, I like to imagine that I'm like floating in space. Like, I don't know, it just really helps me tune out from my physical body and the bed that I'm laying on. So if you want to put on some like cool ambient music to kind of guide you into that space, that works as well. But you want to be able to disassociate with what your physical body is doing. So tune out, go into your other world, imagine that you're floating, and really just let your body completely relax. And you can also guide yourself through some light breath work as well to kind of set the relaxation in your body before you actually begin the full technique. So a lot of this technique is just relaxing the body, making sure there's no distractions. You want to basically induce hypnagogic imagery, which is the colors and the swirls and the flashes that happen as you're falling into sleep. And this will occur naturally the more you get relaxed. So that is the main thing, is to get as relaxed as you can. completely just like lay down and tune everything out, and you may even dip in and out of sleep, and this is totally fine. Sometimes it's preferred because it shows that you are actually getting so relaxed that you could dip in and out of sleep. So you'll want to concentrate on this for at least like 20 to 30 minutes, and again, if you fall asleep and wake back up later, that is totally fine for this technique. You're going to start to notice flashes of color, images, maybe little dream pieces, and you want to kind of not completely focus on it, but you really want to notice it and engage with it. Say you see a little snippet of like a beach or something. Start to emotionalize with what that would feel like to be there. What would the sand feel like on your feet? What would the water sound like? What would the sun feel like on your face? Whatever images you're seeing, you want to engage with them. Even if you're just seeing colors like red, what could that color smell like? Does it smell like raspberries? Does it smell like roses or something? You really want to engage with whatever you're seeing in this hypnagogic imagery. Again, it could be like a full dream scene, it could be just a color, but you want to start to associate whatever you're seeing with an actual sense, if that makes sense. Whether it's a sense of touch, smell, taste, whatever it is. And this will help you focus your mind more on this hypnagogic imagery than what your body is actually doing. This will really help you tune into that reality that you're experiencing and take you more away from the sensations that are happening to your physical body. The more you do this, the more vivid these sensory images are going to get. The hypnagogic imagery is going to start to get deeper and more profound and more colorful, so you just want to keep emotionalizing with this. And you can honestly do this until you fully reach sleep paralysis, and it will work. And this is actually kind of a way to induce a lucid dream. This is how I induce a lucid dream using wild. Wake induce lucid dream is literally just this, like waiting until I see the hypnagogic imagery and I completely relax, and then just emotionalizing with it with my senses and starting to associate that color with this specific smell and seeing if I can really smell it. Or I saw a little clip of the beach in my mind, so I'll start to imagine being at the beach. Or I see a random image of a wooden fence. What would it feel like to touch it? You know, you want to start to engage with this imagery that you're experiencing, and this is going to send you deeper and deeper and deeper into your relaxation and into your imagination. Now you can use this for inducing a lucid dream or an out-of-body experience. If you're using this to induce a lucid dream, you just want to keep focusing on the hypnagogic imagery and maybe repeat something like, "Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming?" Just slowly, and just keep repeating that, because at first you'll be like, "No, I'm not dreaming. I'm laying in bed," you know, like. But the more you ask yourself that, and the more vivid the hypnagogic imagery gets, you're actually going to start to question, wait, am I going into a dream? Wait, am I dreaming? And it starts to actually become a real question that you're asking yourself. So if you're using this to induce a lucid dream, that's what I'd recommend doing. Just focusing on the hypnagogic imagery and investing in it using your senses and asking yourself that question, am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? If you're using this to induce an out-of-body experience, then once you start to really experience a lot of hypnagogic imagery, and maybe you start to feel a little bit numb, or your body feels a little bit heavy, or you feel like your body's spinning, you know how you start to like disassociate from your physical body, you want to notice what's happening, and then you want to start to do something called the target technique. So you can actually choose your target before you do this technique if you want to, but it's basically choosing a specific target or area in your house that you're going to use when you are trying to induce sleep paralysis or an out-of-body experience from your bed. So say that my target was my office. So maybe before this technique, I would go into my office and I would sit down and I'd really pick up on all the colors, all the objects I have around, what it smells like, what it feels like to be here. And you really want to take some time doing this wherever your target is. It could be the kitchen, it could be your balcony, it could be your office, it could be anywhere that you want to, but you want it to be away from where your physical body is going to be when you're actually using this. So once you have your target picked out and you've really gotten the feel of that environment, that's what you're going to imagine when you're inducing sleep paralysis and you're starting to engage with the hypnagogic imagery. So again, For the lucid dream, you want to focus on the hypnagogic imagery and you want to repeat that affirmation and kind of engage with those images you're seeing in hypnagogic imagery. But if you're using sleep paralysis to induce an out-of-body experience, you want to imagine being where your target is. So again, if my target is my office, then as I'm laying in bed, as I'm starting to feel these sensations, I'm going to imagine as vividly as I can sitting at my desk or standing at, in my office. And I really want to visualize everything that I would see. What would I smell? What textures could I feel? And eventually, and guys, your brain cannot tell the difference between something you're imagining and something that's actually happening. So if you make the imagination of something like so real to your brain, eventually it's going to start assuming that that is actually real, and you're going to really start to feel it like you are actually experiencing it. And that's how a lot of out-of-body experiences start. You'll imagine being in another room as vividly as you can, and before you can actually see an out-of-body experience, you'll start to pick up on your senses first, which is really cool. So you'll actually be able to tell when this starts to work. The last time that I did this, I imagined swinging in a hammock. And eventually I started to feel myself swinging, and that's how I actually induced an out-of-body experience. It's like you really start to feel it, and then boom, like your vision opens and you're actually in the out-of-body experience. So it can happen very suddenly, so be prepared for that, but choose a good target and just envision it as vividly as you can, the sensation of being in that area, what it would look like, what it would feel like, what it would smell like. And you'll notice that you'll either slip in and out of sleep and you could wake up in sleep paralysis. You may your vision will clear up and you'll actually be out of your body and you didn't even really go through all the sleep paralysis symptoms. Or maybe you induce a lucid dream accidentally and you can actually use that to induce an out-of-body experience. You can make a command in the lucid dream state to go out of body, or you can focus on your physical body sensations or imagine floating up while you're lucid, and you can actually induce an out-of-body experience that way. But those are the two ways that I'd recommend using sleep paralysis to induce a lucid dream or an out-of-body experience. We're definitely going to be talking about this more because I can literally talk about sleep paralysis forever. There's so many things that we can do with the vibrational state and so many ways that we can induce it and use it to even fall asleep quicker. Like if you have insomnia, you can actually induce sleep paralysis willingly to actually get your body to fall asleep quicker. So it's not just for lucid dreaming or out-of-body experiences. It's basically also practicing conscious sleep. Like if you've ever heard of dream yoga or sleep yoga, we can actually use our stages of sleep for awareness and conscious mindfulness practices. And so getting familiar with sleep paralysis is a really easy way to do that. And I do want to say that sleep paralysis is completely safe. I know there are questions about that, but you got to keep in mind when you don't know what's happening in sleep paralysis and you feel fear, again, it's a thought responsive state. You're experiencing what will scare you because you feel fear, and your thoughts create your state. It's a thought responsive state. So really pay attention to your thoughts, your emotions, and what you believe to be real about sleep paralysis, because even if that is a dream hallucination, you will experience it if there's something really deep within you that you actually believe is going to happen. That's why, people have different experiences based on the different level of consciousness that we're operating on. So know that just like a lucid dream, you can literally change the experience based on your emotions, your thoughts, your expectations, and your intentions. That's very important. I want to make that very clear. So that is this video for today. There's so much we can do within this state. Like I said, let me know if you have any questions. I definitely plan to make more videos on sleep paralysis because there's just a lot to it, as you guys can tell. But I hope that this helped you. Again, let me know if you guys have any questions down below. And on May 5th, I am running a 3-day workshop. It is called Intro to Dreaming, and this is going to take place on Facebook, May 5th at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This will be in a private Facebook group. It is $197 to join this 3-day workshop. It's actually going to be 4 days because there is a bonus call, and you'll learn everything from mastering your dream recall, using your dream science to get lucid, and even inducing dreams and other states of consciousness, not just within REM, other states as well. So it's going to be so cool. Email me if you guys want to reserve your spot, if there's any of you that want to join this Facebook workshop, just email me at contact.thelucidmystic@gmail.com and I will send you over the information to join. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. And as always, I'm sending you endless love and endless lucidity.